So no one owns the oceans, forests, or even the air that we breathe. Some would say no one should own it, but the issue is in this system, in this game, if there's no ownership, why would you protect it? Because financial maximization, owning an asset, comes before actually caring about the planet, sadly. And so there are no incentives actually to protect these things because no one owns them. They are not an asset which is on someone's balance sheet that they should care about. And what this means is market failure with a burden on the planet, corporations operating consequence free and getting a free ride at the planet's expense. Free riders are never fair. We don't like free riders in organizations and teams, but yet we're allowing people to free ride all over the world in the name of corporations.
Welcome to the VIRIVERSE, Immersive Sustainability Comic Collections, where we tell stories of changemakers around the world who are real people in real places making real impact. Hello friends, Chance, aka the designer here, and I am so thrilled to be joined by my wonderful friend and a very important climate activist for the world, Tom Marshall, aka the visionary Lemur.
Hey friends.
Welcome to Friction, issue number 3. Don't hate the player, hate the game. The climate decade requires rapid climate action and a little civil disobedience too. Our sustainability lessons are how do we affect systems change for a better world? Looking at the collision of purpose versus financial growth in our lives on the path to living a meaningful life. And how to be brave, because it takes bravery to rise up and meet the challenges of these very weird times we live in. The visionary Lemur scampers across a bed of hot coals and through the flame gate, the entrance to the grand stage. As he looks up, he sees the crayon-brushed sky, beautiful, through the top of the biodome. Climbs the stairs, and as his wide eyes cross that stage horizon, he sees the fire starters waving in eager anticipation. And as he comes off that final step and glides across that stage, he shares his spark with all of us, and we are transported into a whirlwind of inferno. As the lemur heats up, he entertains, he inspires, and he teaches us all how to live a truly meaningful life. And led by this determined leader of ours, the fire starters kindle a campfire of conversation, but also collaboration for change. The fire starters, a community sparking fires for change and breaking through the status quo. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead. The fire starters are one of these small groups. They are affecting change, but damn do they have their work cut out for them. And while a small group can break through the status quo, will break through the status quo, this doesn't mean that we should tear down the status quo players. Rather, it is the game that we should be disrupting and transforming into a more sustainable system, sustainable world, sustainable life for all. Welcome to a don't hate the player, hate the game philosophy by your wonderful visionary Lemur.
Thank you, Chance. I'm going to kick off with dropping an ice nugget. Business will not solve our climate crisis, at least not within our existing economic system. The game that we're hating on, not that we're hating on, but we want to change. Not play within, but change that game. So what is this game? Well, it is the game of neoliberalism, our current economic system in the West that proposes that human well-being is advanced by liberating entrepreneurial freedoms and skills, private property rights, free markets, deregulating everything, and the individual responsibility, because it's individuals that are responsible, of course, right? Not the system that is constraining us. Of course, we know that is a load of BS, right, to be polite. And we must change that system. And of course, free markets have been some forces for good in terms of financially maximizing, but they have led to many problems in creating the crises that we now find ourselves in. So the main problems of neoliberalism, of these free markets, of this game, is number one, corporations must maximize shareholder value. As much as organizations might say, yeah, we're flying the green flag and we're saving the planet, they can say that, but the bottom line will always come first, sadly. Another ice nugget for you. I'm sorry. This is the truth of what we see. Secondly, failed innovation. Business would rather invest in stock buybacks than taking risks. Over the last 30 years, 40 years, we've seen investment in buybacks, in buying back your own shares to increase your share price, go from about 0.5% of profits in the early 1980s to around 60+% of profits. So business is not innovating, not investing in the things that matter. Number three, the cost of doing business, the free rider problem, which I'll explain on the next slide. And fourth, the incumbent power dynamics. Many of you will point to these saviors, these Bill Gates and his foundation, Zuckerberg and his foundation, Jeff Bezos and all these leaders, these powerful people who we say, yeah, they're going to solve the problems, solve this. But why would they solve and change the system? Why would they make things better? Because they are benefiting from this system. There is no incentive for them to change as much as they proclaim to do. Same for business, also at an individual incumbent level.
So the myth you're offering us, Tom, is that business can solve the climate problem, but you're saying maybe that is a myth. Maybe we can't.
They can solve it, but not in this existing system, not in this existing game. And right now people are playing the game rather than changing the game. And the game is the problem. The game is what has led to this.
Okay.
Now you can look at this beautiful glacier here that we see in Iceland as we introduce the free rider problem, a free market fail. One thing that you should see on all these YouTube fail blog videos, free market, but it's not as entertaining as someone falling off a skateboard. So we don't see that in these videos, sadly. So no one owns the oceans, forests, or even the air that we breathe. Some would say no one should own it, but the issue is in this system, in this game, if there's no ownership, why would you protect it? Because financial maximization, owning an asset, comes before actually caring about the planet, sadly. And so there are no incentives actually to protect these things because no one owns them. They are not an asset which is on someone's balance sheet that they should care about. And what this means is market failure. With a burden on the planet, corporations operating consequence-free and getting a free ride at the planet's expense. Free riders are never fair. We don't like free riders in organizations and teams, but yet we're allowing people to free ride all over the world in the name of corporations.
In the States, we'd call it that you're a moocher. You're mooching off of something.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll try using that word in the Netherlands, but no one would understand it. But I appreciate your American slang, Chance.
Mooching.
So what can we do? You need to actually change the rules of the game. The game is not inherently bad. It's the rules that we have set up right now. The market is not inherently bad. Business is not inherently bad. But it's the rules of that game which have led it.
People are not inherently bad.
People are not inherently bad. People are inherently good. If you read Rutger Bregman's book of humankind,
or if you just look in your heart, right? We all know this.
Or just look in your heart. I mean, if you look around you, most of your friends are good people, right? And yet we have this neoliberal ideology of everyone being out for themselves, everyone being selfish, which is not true. They're being made that way by that system around us. So what can we do? Collective action. Taking real action together to change the game. And you may think, okay, are we talking about communism? Because apparently communism is the only alternative we can come up to capitalism. No, we're not talking about that. Don't worry, folks. We're talking about a mixed economy. Something that was done during World War II and other crises. Centralized coordination. We cannot allow business to fragment into private interests of everyone trying to exploit and grow their own pie or fight for the pie. We need to focus on solving common problems, just like we did in previous crises, where the government makes sure we're investing in the things which are needed, which are actually benefiting humankind, benefiting individuals, benefiting all of our well-being. A mixed economy model focusing on stakeholder value rather than just shareholder value. We are all stakeholders of society. So this new approach is needed. We must direct the powerful flow of the market into a healthier system. And COVID-19 has shown us that this is possible, right, Chance? Right? We've seen this with pouring money into the private sector, this mixed economy. If we come together, if we actually acknowledge the truth of the situation, we can adapt. We will adapt, and government involvement is key for that.
And COVID has offered us a chance to see that things can change. The world can change. People can change. People are looking just inward, like looking outward. Right, just like that, right? We can do better than what we're doing. We absolutely can.
Absolutely. And this has, precedent from the past. In the 60s, 70s, it was really normal to have a mixed economy before Thatcher and Reagan came along and turned that on its head. Public goods for public interest, trains, energy, roads, totally a normal thing. We've just forgotten it. So what can we do? Get organized. Number one, build a coalition within your organization or industry. Get together if you're working within a company. Co-create a plan for your organization, petition your leadership. Figure out where that money's going. Is it putting into stock buybacks, or is it actually investing in innovation? Is it actually investing in the things that count for the long term, for the organization, for the planet, for you as an employee? Get involved with your local trade union, workers' council. Come together. On your own, you might feel very alone, but together, united, you're strong. Number two, utilize a grassroots or bottom-up theory of power, upwards rather than this top-down approach. Leaders who are a bit more bound up in this shareholder maximization, accountable to shareholders, but you can come together at the bottom end of an organization. Push upwards, put pressure on them. Number three, perhaps the most important one, be an agent for change. You have more power than you might think, folks. Don't just watch the news, you can be the news. This is what I've seen as a climate activist with Extinction Rebellion. The last couple of years, being arrested, doing some cool shit, but actually really being part of a community that together can make a difference, whether you're willing to be arrested or not, in my case. Check out these organizations. Extinction Rebellion is active all over the world, over 100,000 people in our decentralized movement, but also plenty of organizations locally, wherever you are. the Sunrise Movement, 350, Greenpeace. There are so many ways to get involved, and you're much more influential than you might think. Join these communities, join these organizations, and it won't just make a difference, but it will also enrich your life as a human being.
Challenge accepted, my friend. So there's some things around business in here. Businesses are playing the game as it is set up. They're taking advantage of the game as it is set up. But there's this thing called sustainable business. It's new, it's fresh, it's different. It is being attached to the existing game, though. Some of us need to break out and do something a little different, a little crazy even, maybe. But you'll see where we're going with this here as we go. So Viridescent's action here in the VIRIVERSE, we believe that business can be a force for good, but not without change to this system. It can't just be businesses and an economy and even individuals defining success by only gross domestic product. That's not human. It doesn't even sound human. Gross domestic product. We're not products. The earth isn't a product. What? Like, we need to be looking at something else, something that defines and commits value through other things. Tom has called this a mixed economy. We call it a circular economy, and the two are really connected. We believe that this circular economy can help people thrive from within a system that measures time, impact, happiness, yes, happiness, and yes, money, because money's cool, money's awesome, it does good things for the world, but we got to make it so. Money is a product. Money is a product. It's a tool, but it is not human. We need an economy that is more human. And if we're more human, the planet will be more environmentally sound, more healthy. So to our stakeholders, our collaborators, and our fans, and you notice no shareholders. Tom mentioned shareholders. We don't have shareholders, we have stakeholders. We have 4 promises that we are making to you. Number 1, we want to offer education in an immersive, impactful, inspiring, and inclusive sort of way, a sustainable way that helps you be a sustainable person, a sustainable human, whether you're a change maker or you're not. Number 2, people. We are building an equitable supply chain through collaborative partnerships. Number 3, planet. This is a pretty important stakeholder. So as a business, we want to be climate positive. We want to be zero waste. Most importantly, though, sustainable businesses own their shit. They're accountable for what they're not good at. They brag about what they're good at, no doubt, because that's what a good business does. But they're also accountable for what they're not good at, because none of us have figured out a sustainable model yet, but we're going to. We are going to do this. We are going to do this, I'm telling you. And I'm not talking about we as Viridescent, I'm talking about all of us, this movement, this collective action that Tom is calling for. So you must hold us accountable, meaning Viridescent, to this, because businesses make bullshit promises all the damn time.
You're
together. Right. Amen. Woo. So together, the fire starters, led by the visionary Lemur, and the VIRIVERSE, led by you as a change maker across the world, wanting to be a hero for the world in a time where it needs one, are forming a brave partnership, one fit to light fires for change, heal our world, allowing humanity and a planet, the only planet we got, to grow in a symbiotic existence. Tom, tell us how we be brave. How can we be brave?
Brave represents the 5 values that we aspire to do in such a fantastic acronym that we thought very carefully about. So be, beyond, striving for positive impact beyond yourselves and your existing capabilities, dreaming a bit, believing about what's possible, envisioning possibilities. R, radical. I once told Chance that what he does is crazy, but I love it. We're proud to be the crazy ones, envisioning new realities, creating stuff that other people might see as a bit out there, but we've got to be a bit out there if we're going to make the change that's just needed. A, action oriented, actually taking actions from the follow-ups, from these conversations that we have, doing things, building momentum. And we don't have a very good example from the attendees of COP, the conferences, but we as individuals need to set that example, taking action. And V, vulnerable, sharing our challenges around the metaphorical campfire, coming together. Because one of the most activistic things you can do in an individualistic society is to be connected, to be vulnerable, to be open with each other. And finally, E, energetic, enjoying making our impact together, because we only have one life. Let's make it a fun time changing the world together, spreading our fire across the digital airwaves. Be brave.
Vulnerable. It's my favorite one. Sustainable businesses of the present and the future are vulnerable. COVID has made all of us vulnerable right now. It's leading to a lot of people saying, I didn't realize what I took for granted before. I didn't realize what was most important. Those are sparks to kindle and light a flame for the future, the present that we need right now, right here, right now. Vulnerability. It's okay. It's okay. Be vulnerable. It's okay. Tom, is it okay to be vulnerable for a moment? Just for a moment?
Absolutely. Yes.
Goodness. So a VIRIVERSE economy. This is a place where purpose and prosperity weave together as one. But we didn't invent this. The VIRIVERSE did not create this concept. Our wonderful friend Tom is doing this for people right here, right now, every day. He's coaching people on how to live a meaningful life. And a meaningful life can be prosperous. It's not volunteerism. It's not do-gooding. It's living your life with a code of honor and making money because you're doing that. So VIRIDESCENT is committed to spinning this capitalism into circularity. This capitalistic mountain, as I call it. I sometimes call it the climb to the top of capitalistic mountain. We can turn this amazing system that we have, because it has some cool stuff. The game we've built was rooted in some good intentions, but times have changed. We need to turn this system into a regenerating sort of economy, a healthier economy that waves together purposeful work at an individual level, at a community level, at a business level, at an economic level to become prosperous, that allows nature to thrive and brings out the best of humanity in lieu of the worst of us. As William Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage, and all the men and women, and we'd add others, merely players. What if we weren't just players? What if the individual demanded better? And what if that demand was followed by action? And a little civil disobedience too. Not to tear things down or to tear others down, but rather to mature. It's time for humanity to grow up a little bit and evolve our way of doing things. Capitalism has improved the lives of so many people, but it's not an equal game. It's not an equal stage. We want you to come up on this stage with us. Me, Chance, Tom, the visionary Lemur, all of the amazing change makers across the world that are probably smarter and better than anything Tom and I could ever dream of. Come join us. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's build this. Just as we built this economy as it is, we can improve it. We can improve it. And the Firestarters and Viridescent are here to help you do just that. So sign up for our email experience at linktree/Viridescent with a dot between the TR and the EE. And this will get you access to a 15% discount off of Tom's life coaching services so that you can become the change maker that you want to be. Later, friends. Signed, your Vera Vigilantes and
the visionary Lemur.
I've been working with Tom as my life coach for the past few months. And the friendship that he offers, the trust he creates, and the tools that he provides have made me a better change maker. He's given me more discipline, increasing my productivity, and he's improved my emotional intelligence, increasing my impact in partnerships. And lastly, and most importantly, he's helped me love myself, creating a more sustainable human from within so that I can be a more sustainable human for my family. I highly recommend a free coaching discovery call with him. You can book one at tommarshall.life and let him know you traveled on the Viridescent Infinity ship to get there. Signed, Chance, aka